Hey guys, it's me Crystal, and today I'm going to show you how to make the Pampa wall hanging from the book One-Day Macrame. I recently received a copy of this lovely book by Mariela and Carolina Artigas, and it is full of lots of beginner-friendly macrame projects that can be made in one day, just like the name suggests. It has lots of beautiful photos and step-by-step guides, and it's really a great resource for anyone who does macrame. Here's the authors here, and they're also the creators of Port Macrame Studio. Here's the wall hanging we're going to be making. It says it's 22 inches long by 12 inches wide, and it's over on page 65. They gave me permission to make a tutorial about this wall hanging from the book, and you'll find a link to purchase your own copy of One-Day Macrame down in the video description. Here's a picture of the finished product, and I'll also show you what it looks like when I get done making it. Here's the material list on the side, so if you want to pause the video and see everything that you need. We're going to be using 5mm single strand cotton string for this. For the main wall hanging, you'll need 24 pieces of 5mm single twist cotton string that are 98 inches long. Again, the links for this book are down below, and let's get started. So I'm starting with my dowel, and I have one of my 98-inch long pieces of cord folded in half here, and you're just going to attach it with a lark's head knot, and then go ahead and repeat that with the rest of the 98-inch long pieces of cord. And there will be 24 pieces of cord all together. Starting over on the far left-hand side, we're going to grab the 4 cords over here and tie a square knot. And if you're unfamiliar with any of the knots in this wall hanging, there's plenty of step-by-step instructions for all the basic knots in this book. Continue tying square knots going all the way to the right, and you'll have 12 altogether for your first row. Now we're going to tie an alternating row, so you're going to skip the first 2 cords and then grab the next 4 and tie a square knot, and repeat that across, and then skip those last 2 cords as well. Now we're going to tie one last row of square knots, just starting all the way on the left and go all the way across, just like our first row. Now it's time to do the diamonds for this wall hanging. So we're going to start by grabbing the 6th and 7th cord from the left, and then I cross the left over the right, like this in the 4 shape, and then we're going to tie half of a double half hitch, so just a half hitch, and then tighten it up. And this is going to be the point of our diamond, and then those 2 cords coming out of it will be our filler cords for the 2 sides. So you take the left cord and you're going to hold it as your filler cord, and then we're going to tie 5 double half hitch knots going down into the left. And again, if you're new to macrame, there is a tutorial in the book showing how to do a double half hitch knot. Now you're going to grab that right cord that we had at the beginning, and you're going to tie 5 double half hitch knots going down and to the right. And keep the angle of the filler cord the same as the angle of the first one, so they match. All right, now grab the two cords in the center and you're going to cross right over left and then tie 1/2 hitch again. And we're just going the opposite way for the point of our diamond this time. And tighten that up. And then those two cords will be your filler cords. And again, you're going to tie 5 double half hitch knots going down into the left. And just make sure that you get them up close to that first row so there's not a space in between them. Now grab that right filler cord and again do the same thing on the side, tying 5 double half hitch knots going down into the right and just making sure you don't end up with a gap between your two rows. Now we're going to tie a square knot in the center that has 6 filler cords. So the inner 6 cords in the middle will be the filler cords. And then the next 2 cords, the one on the left and the one on the right, will be our working cords. So we're just going to tie a square knot like normal, except there will be 6 filler cords instead of 2. Whenever I tighten this, I tried not to pull it too tight so it wouldn't just squish it down too much in the middle, but just get it all nice and even and take a minute to arrange everything real nicely. And then go ahead and tie the second half of your square knot. Now we're going to finish up the diamond, so grab that left filler cord and we're going to tie 5 double half hitch knots going down into the right. Then take the right filler cord and tie 5 double half hitch knots going down into the left. Then we'll take both filler cords and tie one last double half hitch knot going down and to the left to connect the two sides. Now we just have to do one more row, so grab the far right cord from this diamond and then use it as the filler cord to tie 5 double half hitch knots going down into the left. And again, make sure you don't leave a space between those rows of double half hitch knots. And then take the leftmost cord and use it as a filler cord for 5 double half hitch knots going down into the right. And then tie one last double half hitch knot with the 2 filler cords going down and to the right to close off the bottom of the diamond. Alright, there's one diamond. You just gotta do the next 3, and I like to do the top part with all of them, then the middle of all of them, and then the bottom of all of them, just to help things go more smoothly. And now we're going to move on to the last part, which is just square knots, and we have to do a row going straight across. So the way that I did this was I started with the square knot right under this diamond, because this is where the row needs to be lined up with. And I thought it would be easier to make the row straight if I started there and then did the next one to the left and lined it up with the first knot. And then I did the next one over. So I recommend that. What I actually ended up doing was doing all the square knots directly under the diamonds and then kind of filling in the spaces, and that helped to keep the row nice and straight going across. Next, we're going to skip the first 2 cords and then tie a row of alternating square knots going across, and again you'll skip those last 2 cords as well. This bottom part of the wall hanging is just an inverted triangle, so each row you're going to skip 2 more cords until you have this triangle shape at the bottom. Last, we're going to make the tassels, and it shows how to make tassels on this page, so I'm following these instructions. And I'm actually using 24mm cord here instead of 12 because that's what I had on hand, but I cut a 12-inch piece. And then I just figured if I separated this into 2 bundles, it would be about 12mm, so that's what I'm going with here. So here's my 12-inch piece, and then I'm just going to split it down the middle. If you have 12mm cord, you will not have to do this step. Or if you're using smaller cord, you could just bundle several pieces together and then brush them out to get a similar effect. Then you're just going to brush it until it's totally nice and brushed out and smooth. Then we're going to tie them with a piece of 1.5mm cotton string that's about 10 inches long, and I'm just using butcher's twine basically that I had in my stash. And you're just going to tie it right in the center of your brushed out cord and just tie a regular old knot. And then fold it in half, and then I went ahead and brushed mine a little bit more because it got a little bit ruffled up. And then you're going to take your 12-inch long piece of the same cord and tie a wrapping knot or a gathering knot here at the top to just finish off the tassel. And I got mine to wrap around 4 times. And since this is really small cord and you're not wrapping a lot, you just want to be really careful you don't pull too far, but it does seem to hold them in place just fine. And then cut off the excess and tuck the little ends up underneath. Then you go ahead and cut your tassel to get it nice and even on the bottom. And then there is 1 tassel completed, and you're going to need 7 altogether. Then to attach them, I have a large eye like tapestry needle. And you're going to take, what I did was I took 1 strand and I went over the knot, and 1 strand and went right in the knot, and this is the bottom center square knot. And here it is from the back, and I just tied a knot, a regular just double knot, to hold them in place. It said to attach them with a double half hitch knot, and I just wasn't quite sure the best way to do that, so I thought, you know what, this is what I would do, so this is how I did it. Either way is fine, and then you can just weave those ends in when you're done. And then you're going to repeat that. It tells you how to space them out, and you're just going to attach all of them until it looks nice and even, and here is what they look like at this point. Then all you have to do is cut the fringe just below the tassels, a nice V shape. And then if you want, you can brush out the ends of the fringe a little bit. And here's the finished wall hanging, and I absolutely love how this turned out. It was very easy to follow, and I can tell you this book would be great for beginners, and the patterns in it are beautiful, and I highly, highly recommend it. So be sure to check out that book. Like I said, links are below. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks for watching!